It's Thursday. It's time for a Thoughtful Thursday episode on Karishma Connect. And this time round, I've got Kairavi Mehta talking to me about what it takes to be a woman of steel. This, yet another 30 Under 30 by Entrepreneur Today, talks to me about how she came back from Boston after her studies, wanting to take the reins for her family business, which dealt in steel. But she was met with a variety of challenges and opportunities, especially as she battled her way through a male dominated business. She talks to me about what it was like, what people need to know, and how women can tread paths that are often untaken and make their mark out of it. It's inspiring, she's indeed powerful as she talks, and it's definitely one to watch out. It's again short, sweet, and simple. I try to keep it within your attention span, so go check it out. And until the next one, stay tuned. I'll be back on Sunday with yet another episode. This is Karishma Connect.
Thank you so much, Kairavi, for joining me on this episode of Karishma Connect. It's a pleasure to host you. I'm so looking forward to knowing more about your journey, which has been super interesting for me so far, and I can't wait to share it with my viewers.
Thank you, Karishma, for such a warm welcome. It's my pleasure being on your show and would love to connect with all your listeners.
Perfect. So the first question I ask anybody, Kairavi, on my podcast is dive right in and tell me about your journey. What has been your passion? What has been your vibe? How did that Kairavi start as a young, lady trying to make her own mark? And what really makes her proud to be where she is today?
Okay, sure. So this question that you just asked me brings up so many memories from the past, actually from when I was a kid. So that's when I was 11 years old is when I actually, implanted. That's when this dream of taking over my family business was implanted in my head. So I remember when I was a kid, a lot of there were like a lot of people who would taunt my mom for having two daughters in a business oriented family, and they would ask my dad that why is he hiring so big, why are you working so hard, who is going to take over the business after you, so might as well not dream big because you don't have anyone to succeed. Those kind of societal stereotypes, taunts, everything got ingrained in me to such a level as a kid that's when I decided that no matter what happens, I'm going to take over the family business and I'm going to change the perception of every individual who thinks that daughters cannot do this. So that's where it all started for me. And but the funny thing is that as an 11-year-old kid, I hardly even knew that what the steel industry would encompass of. It is such a male dominated, it has always been a very male dominated industry. But as a kid, I had no idea about all the obstacles or the challenges that would come along with it. It only hit me when I joined my family business right after I graduated from Babson. So I was only 20 years old. And my family asked me, do you want to stay back and work in the US or what do you want to do? And I was like, I think you guys already know what I have planned for myself since I was 11. So no wasting any time. I'm coming and joining the family business. And when I came back and, I started, that's when I realized what it means for women to be working in a male dominated industry. So there were brokers who would, come along in the office and would see me working side by side to my dad. And they'd be like, it's nice that, she joined the business, but I don't think she'll last more than 2 years, probably, until just when you get her married. Meanwhile, you can put her in the finance or the accounts department. And I was just looking, I was like, what is happening? And I was just like, okay, this is like really funny. Usually I don't think males would have to go through such a situation. I'm sure they have a different journey, but this was something which I did not expect coming my way. And I think the funniest or actually the saddest one was when, your own friends and close family are judging your parents that probably they don't love me enough. That is why they have allowed me to work in a steel industry, because it is supposed to be so mechanical, raw, and how do you even allow your daughter to talk to other male? So I'm just like, okay, that's when, so all these things I think kind of even pushed me further to challenge all the societal perceptions that are created around, what women can do and cannot do. Because I was like, that cannot limit what I'm actually capable of, or that cannot limit what I can dream about. So I think those kind of things pushed me further, and my determination to be successful at the family business only became stronger. But I think the most important, I think I had my first taste of success. My journey of 9 years, where I went relentlessly, irrespective of whatever came my way. Seeing that a lot of people get inspired around me to take up paths which are less taken, and create a new definition for what their dreams can be, so that creating positive impact on people's life is what leaving a legacy for me means. And that was like, when I realized, okay, this is going to push me. This particular reason is going to push me through more challenges which are going to come.
It's lovely to see that you took the step to, drive that impact and make that difference. But I'm sure along the way, because especially with a family business that has been run for so many years, that has the reputation to keep, I'm sure beyond just the aspect of a woman taking it up, there are a lot of challenges associated with it at a human level as well. To just kind of
Right.
overcome, be it the footsteps of your father, be it the societal notions, the customer bars of excellence that have been set, and to kind of continue, and that too in a product that is so niche and so driven by a entirely different kind of sales ecosystem altogether. It's not like a consumer product that you're selling, it's a different, version. So how did you kind of combat those at a personal level? Because I'm sure while starting out, nobody knows everything, everybody is just there with that ambition. How did you kind of go that extra mile and bridge the gap?
When you truly want something, that every challenge or every obstacle that comes your way, you just try to take it as an opportunity to dive even deeper and find the correct answers and move ahead. So every time, so I'll explain you. So every time, there was like you said, this product steel is quite raw and also at the same time niche and technical. And I come from a very business background where I knew everything about, okay, how to, because I've seen my dad in the house do business in the night at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night. I've heard him take phone calls and close orders. But, and also I studied business management as my undergraduate degree. But no one had, I never knew anything about steel, the various kind of grades, what is the difference between one grade from another. But what I realized was that if I wanted to, be here and make a position for myself, I would have to get into the details. So I spoke to various technicians about steel. I went and researched on Google, like read different, engineering qualities about steel, what makes one different from the other. And actually, that's now my kind of, way that how I differentiate the business. So if you are also in the distribution industry, you'll be selling the same type of steel that I will be selling. So now how do I differentiate from you other than just the pricing point? So that was my biggest, challenge that I was facing, because you will see that in this traditionally run industry, everyone's just competing on price, just cutting prices and trying to take orders. And I was like, that's not where I want to be. Like, what is one thing that I've learned at Babson is how to create value. So if I'm in this industry, I'm going to see that where can I bring value for my customers, my employees who are working with him, and how can I get growth for this business. And when I went into the details of the product and steel is when I realized that I can give customized solutions to my customers. And that's how, like, so every customer, usually the customer also does not have idea about what steel they are buying. They have, in these multinationals, there are purchasers who will just get an RFQ from their design team that they want this steel. So they have no idea about what that means. But let's say if I come and tell them that no, you can, instead of using this steel, take this steel. It will save you on cost, but it will give you the same properties because I know that, this steel is an equivalent and can give you the same thing that you need. That is when they're like, okay, you know what? We are going to come back to you again because we know you're helping us save rather than just give us a low price and get done with it.
What do you think makes any business successful? Of course, you've already told me about value, but is there anything else that you think is very much needed in order to make any business or entrepreneurial venture successful?
Right. So the first thing, I mean, there are a lot of different things that, make a business successful, and that can be quite subjective to the industry or the business that we are talking about. So I wouldn't really dive into what would make a business successful, but I can say that what are the qualities that an entrepreneur can have which can make him or her successful. That is something that I can truly share from my journey because I think those are the values which I have also learned and embraced over these 9 years, which has kind of, I feel like, made me reach where I am today and carved a niche while I've carved a niche for myself in this steel industry. So I think that I can share with all the listeners. I
Absolutely.
think,
Go ahead.
yeah, I think the first most important thing will be like, follow your passion. That is so, I know it's said, it's a very cliche thing and it's oversaid, but I think it's the most important thing. It is very important that one person enjoys what they are doing and is happy every single day of their life. Having said that, there are so many people who come and ask me, like, what if, like, because they're so young, they're like, I've not really understood what my passion is yet. So, to that, I always say that, it's okay if you don't know your passion, but make sure that you're happy when you're working. Second thing, I think, which I also keep reminding myself on daily basis is embrace your failures. When you choose to become an entrepreneur, I think you're choosing to fail every single day of your life. And without trying new things, you cannot become an entrepreneur. So it goes very hand in hand. It's the duality of entrepreneurship. Like the success and failure just come hand in hand. So instead of getting scared of failures, just embrace them. Make them your stepping stone to success, and keep moving forward with all the resilience and the determination. Don't let them put you down. Be unique and embrace your difference. So I really feel like, rather than following other people's footsteps, like you create your own. That is more important. Like stick to your own identity.
Well, that's exactly the point that you made there. I think that's what sets you apart, right? I mean, when I read your brief as well, I said, wow, here's India's very own first woman of steel. I mean, who could have thought of that, USB? Who could have thought that that would one day become your differentiating factor? And I think that is the how do I put it? I think that is the success of kind of pursuing your own path. But I'm sure when you pursue that own path, there are some qualities that you resonate with. So I want to ask this question to you because I was really intrigued when I read that line. I said, what really, in your opinion, makes somebody a woman of steel? How would you define that?
Firstly, I have to say that you have put down a very interesting question, and it's so interesting to bring out the fact that I think this is the first time when someone has at least I have heard on an official platform put it out there, women of steel. Usually we always hear man of steel, he has nerves of steel, but never usually, like, it is never associated with a women. And I'm so happy that, my 9-year journey has brought me to a place where I have been able to kind of bring in a new term, which is women of steel. And I would love to share more about this because I think women of steel really resonates with me. Because I feel like she's the person who believes in her own capabilities and inner strength. She does not shy away from her own potential and the worth. She carves her own destiny. just like steel, how strong it is, she has the courage to break from the societal norms and expectations. Instead, just how there are various types of steel, she also embraces her own individuality and uniqueness that she brings and lives life on her own terms. Another thing which is very important about the women of steel is that she accepts that there are different facets in her life. And just like how steel can be malleable and ductile, she's adaptable and at the same time resilient to adjusting to the circumstances and learning from each of them. I think the best one for me is the one where, just like how steel is recyclable and can be refined, a woman of steel is always evolving and reinventing herself, like learning new experiences, exploring new opportunities, and expanding her horizons is something that a woman is what defines women of steel for me. So I think that's that for me.
What would your advice then be to these women who endeavor to become such, or need that little push to become such powerful personalities?
I would just like to tell all of the young, aspiring women entrepreneurs, or even just women trying to do something different in their life from what has been done in their families or their society that they are a part of. I'd say just go for it. Believe in yourself. Let gender not be a limiting factor. Instead, be something that brings diversity out there. Like, do not think that, oh, like because of my gender I cannot do something. Instead, think of what I can do which has which will be so different from what has already been done. So think of it that way, because I know we see like a lot of men having done a lot of things already and achieved a lot of things, and we think that, oh, can we even achieve the same thing that they have? And at that point I always tell all the women, but why do you want to achieve the same thing that they have? Why don't you think of doing whatever you want to and leave your mark in that industry in a different way? I feel like there is no dream too big. And yeah, never let gender be the reason why you are not allowed to have a dream or follow your dream.
Thank you so much, Kairavi, for joining me. It's been a wonderful chat.
Thank you. Thank you, Karishma, for having me on the show.